Hospitality company The One Group is raising the stakes, ramping up its expansion plans by taking its upscale restaurant brand STK to Canada. Its first stop, Toronto. The company's founder and CEO Jonathan Segal says it's an ideal international city for STK, and he joins us from New York to discuss Canada's appetite for upscale dining. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We've been spending the bulk of our morning lamenting about global growth concerns, the precarious economic condition that Canada finds itself in. But you're pressing on in this environment. What is your read of the health of the Canadian consumer?
So if you just look at Canada in our particular industry, the restaurant industry, over about the last 25 years, it's enjoyed consistent growth. And I think the estimated numbers for 2015 are going to show about a 3.8% growth, about $62 billion of revenue within the restaurant and hospitality industries. So that's really an exciting market. It really speaks to the fact that the Canadian market is systematic with our type of offering. They're about having a great time going out. They enjoy themselves. And we're very confident that our style of operation, our type of restaurant will sit comfortably with the Canadian market. And although the economies globally tend to be looking a little bit negative, if you look at same-store sales growth that have occurred in America, although traffic's been down slightly in the first couple of quarters, the actual same-store sales growth has been up. So despite the complexity and the problems that are facing the world, people are still dining out and enjoying themselves.
How much does your business rely on tourist traffic? We've heard from companies like Tiffany that say their stores in the U.S. are hurting because there's not as many tourists coming. Are you seeing a crimp in tourist spending?
So if you look at the visitor profile to a typical STK restaurant, we tend to be, during the week, very much a locally based market. We're catering to residents, businesses across the regions or across the cities. At the weekends, we do tend to be more tourist related, but we haven't really seen a major drop-off to that. It's almost as if STK is kind of, in each of its cities, become a destination that people like to go to. It's a very heavily written about restaurant concept. We have a lot of press. We have a really good and a loyal celebrity following. And I think, particularly from a tourist standpoint, people like to visit these type of venues. The other great thing about our loyal following is, as they travel from city to city, they want to try. They've been in New York, they want to try the STK in Miami or the STK in Las Vegas, or next year the STK in Toronto.
And that's going to be in the Bloor-Yorkville area. You're planning to open that by 2016. What do you think of the competitive landscape? Because Toronto is no stranger to upscale steak restaurants.
So, firstly, we don't see ourselves solely as a steak restaurant offering. STK is more about a night out. It's kind of like an adventure. It's as much about the evening's entertainment as it is about the meal. Now, Canada has amazing concepts, an amazing country for creating concepts, for creating ideas, and they have amazingly great restaurants. Competition doesn't really worry us. We believe we enhance the competition. We don't actually take business away from other venues. From my personal standpoint and from my business experience, I've always learned that you're more likely to be successful trading in an area where you have a lot of competition than necessarily where you have no competition. Because the more restaurants and the more venues that there are in the area that we operate, the more people that are coming to the area and frequenting it. And that's obviously great for the other restaurants, it's great for the retail, and it's actually great for the economy of those particular areas.
You've been in this industry for a while, and we've certainly seen this kind of revolution in food. More and more people are proclaiming themselves foodies. How would you describe, the industry for high-end food experiences compared to 10, 15 years ago?
So if you look at the restaurant business over years, we've kind of gone through phases. Years ago, we had nouveau cuisine. It was tiny portions on huge plates. Then there was fusion. We were fusing. It was like people had a dartboard. They'd throw a dart, and wherever the two darts landed, they'd fuse it. French, Vietnamese, Scottish German. They just fuse these crazy ideas together. We've now kind of gone into an environment of, we've gone through family dining. Now we're kind of in vibe dining. Vibe dining is really more about the fact that people want more from their dining experience. You know, the science behind home-cooked foods is great today. You can come to my home, I can make you a boil-in-the-bag something or a microwave dinner, and it's going to taste pretty damn good. So really, people are looking for much more in their hospitality and their dining experience, and really that extends to kind of the phase that we're in today, where people are expecting more, they're requiring more, and it's really up to the restaurants to offer a little bit more than just what is normally considered a great meal.
I'm seeing a lot on menus, like a lot of comfort food. You'll have high-end restaurants offering things like poutine or ribs. You know, you're not seeing as much of those quote-unquote high-end foods like foie gras. Is that part of the trend as well?
You know, I mean, food really does follow a trend, and we tend to be influenced by outside forces rather than by our own necessary personal tastes. You mentioned foie gras. It's kind of politically incorrect. It's kind of not a good product to be offering. We pretty much taken it off all of our menus. And so that's kind of an influence on people's choices. When we started STK in 2006, there was a big drive with the Atkins diet, and women were eating more meat. And so a lot of our personal tastes in dining are really influenced by the social or the environment that we're operating within. We as restaurateurs really need to be adaptive and be able to change and create menus that really suit not always just the taste of our guests, but also kind of the political, the economic and political environment that exists at that time as it relates to the type of foods that we serve.
Lastly, before we let you go, Jonathan, give us your recommendation, the chef special. When people go to Toronto to your restaurant, what must they order?
You know, in the States, I like the Delmonico cut. I like my steaks to be medium charred, pepper crusted. I think we do a pretty good job with that one. You know, our menu is really designed more to appeal to the female market. We don't have crab cakes, we have crab salads. Crab salad is a great offering that we have. And of course, for our desserts, our mini ice creams are always very popular.
Jonathan, thank you so much, and best of luck in your expansion in Canada.
And thank you for your time.
This is Jonathan Segal, President and CEO at The One Group.